Welcome, everybody. I am giving a short introduction of the workshop, what we aim being here virtually, and a little bit on the logistics. First of all, this is the first part of two-part workshop that is the LSSTC Enabling Science 2020 Broker Workshop. We just created a Twitter hashtag that Francisco will post in the sub chat, hopefully. We have support from the LSST Corporation, which we are really grateful. So we sent this proposal in order to make this two-part workshop together to start this discussion on LSST science collaborations and brokers. Of course, there's a lot of support as well from the LRC and the think teams that have been co-organizing this workshop. So I thank everybody that has helped out. You see below the schedule, and I'm gonna take you through a couple of things before we start. If I can move this. First of all, a little bit on the goals. So the idea to create this workshop is because we know that the Vera-C Robin Observatory, the Legacy Survey of Space and Time, which we call LSST, will produce this public alert stream that will be available to find transient objects and study them. Now, there is challenges and opportunities, of course. The opportunities are the amazing science that we can do with it, and the science collaborations will tell us all about that today. But there's also the challenges of how to deal with the big data volume and how to digest them. So last year, there was a community broker workshop in Seattle in June, and this discussion started. But since then, we haven't had the time to sit down and put some communicate between us and understand what's going on. So the goals today will be, and for tomorrow as well, will be a presentation of the Envision products and services by the broker teams, which you will hear tomorrow. Today, we will hear about the scientific cases by the LSST science collaborations, and hopefully triggering a discussion of how brokers can actually help them reach their goals. Of course, we will hear, and it's not reading here, we will hear from the LSST project as well, of how are they envisioning everything. One of the important things that we want to do with these two workshops is to create a community. So which type of interactions, which kind of standards we want to construct to achieve more interoperability and resilience during the 10 years of LSST operations. And of course, you would have noticed that we are recording this, and the idea is to create a high quality repository with the content of the workshop, including the talks. There will be also hands-on material for the second part of the workshop that will be in the web available for everybody. So this is the first part of the workshop, 2 days, 4 hours, to get an idea of the current status and requirements. In 4 to 6 months' time, we want to organize a second part of the workshop where we will discuss the events and developments triggered by this workshop and how can we interact better. So keep in mind this when we're talking during the workshop. What would you like to see next time? How can we make everything a little bit more efficient and better? Now, you may have seen this if you got first in the room. We have established a code of conduct with the idea of fostering inclusive and barrier-free and safe space for this workshop. The idea is that every person feels safe, respected, and free from harassment and discrimination. So if you haven't seen it, it's in our webpage as well, the code of conduct below each of the schedules. The idea is that we behave professionally. Harassment and sexist, racist, or exclusionary comments or jokes are not appropriate. And this includes from disruption of tasks, deliberate intimidation, stalking, and even recording if people don't want it, and offensive comments towards any of the subjects we are pointing out here, like race, gender, sexual orientation, disability, physical appearance, or religion. The idea is that we have appropriate communication. We are a professional audience with many different backgrounds of people. So that communication should behave professionally and be considerate and respectful to others. We want to criticize ideas, not individuals. Of course, we may have created some barriers that we are not aware of. If you have any issue that you want to discuss, below you will see Francisco's and my email. or also through Slack. Feel free to contact us to discuss whatever issues arise during the workshop. Of course, confidential. Now that we have settled a good environment for the next 2 days, some of the logistics. First of all, if you're not in the Slack channel, go to the LSSTC space and go to this channel, Brokers Workshop 2020. Remember to update your Zoom to 5.3 because the breakout rooms for the discussions will only work with that Zoom. If you haven't done so, you can do it during the break. We will record the talks. If you don't want to be recorded, please let us know. The talks are pretty packed up. So we have 2 formats, 10 minutes talks and 5 minutes talks. Each of them has 2 minutes or 1 minute question time. Please stay on time. Moderators, thanks for keeping track of this. I know it's hard, but we can all make it. Please don't forget to keep your mic muted during the talks. I think that's an important one we always forget. Well, in my case, I forget to unmute, but muting is better than having it on. We will be taking questions from both Slack and Zoom. So there are moderators that will check both. And one very important thing, we really, really encourage early career researchers to ask first. So we want to hear from people that identify as early career researchers first before senior people. Thanks, senior people, for waiting a tiny bit to hear the first questions in the session. So we cannot control this because we cannot see who is who. So this is a volunteer movement, basically. What is going to happen? We're going to have a lot of discussion sessions. So the one-on-one on how to construct these discussion sessions will be the following. We have prepared a set of discussion topics, and we will gather discussion topics as well in the Slack channel. Francisco will post this in the Slack, and please reply to the thread so we can keep track who is suggesting which topics. The idea is that we will do a poll. So you will get the link, you can evaluate each of the topics, and then we will vote for the best ones. Then we will select moderators for each of those breakout rooms. Why is that? Because we want first to keep track of time, of course, but we also want a small summary of what happened during those sessions because we cannot all be in so many sessions that are quite interesting. So please volunteer to be a moderator. It's quite easy, just a summary, and encouraging, of course, ECR to talk first and fostering an inclusive and safe space for discussion. Now, how do you join breakout sessions? If you haven't done it before, you have a Zoom. On the top, number 1 is the Zoom bar that you have. Breakout rooms will appear. You click there. Then you can see the list of the breakout rooms, and then you need to click on the numbers to the right to join it. So that's what I'm showing there to the right, bottom right. So that's for the breakout rooms. Today's schedule, pretty packed, as you can see. If you have troubles with the time zone, UTC, click in the link and you will see the different time zones. Thanks to all moderators to semi-volunteering to do so and keeping track of everything. The organizing team is here to help. Paula, Lorena, Alejandra, Julian, Francisco, of course, Emily, and myself are in Zoom, Slack, and just write to us if you have any questions. And we hope that you will have a very productive time, and then we can do the best science possible with this workshop. Thank you very much.
Do we have any quick questions on logistics of the meeting for Anais before we move on to our next topic?
Well, so we have one question in Slack. The first one is, where will the recorded talks be available?
The when or where?
Where?
Sorry, where? I think we need to set up the YouTube links for that, but this is something we will send you after the workshop, of course, because it needs some curation. But we'll keep you posted, definitely.
Okay, and a second question. Will the slide be posted to refer to later?
Yes, I am putting it in the Dropbox that Julian will make available for us soon.
I see Julian has a question with Andres.
Sorry, Gautam?
Leanne, you have your hand raised. If you
Thank
have
you. Yes, no, I don't have a question. I have a comment. Thank you for that nice introduction, Anais. I'd just like to remind and encourage people in the Slack, in the Broker Workshop 2020 Slack, to discussions threaded. So if somebody asks a question, keep the answers in the thread, not the main channel, because we found this with many other workshops in the past, that once you get a couple of questions going at once, it can become a nightmare. So please remember threading in questions. It makes it a lot easier to follow the conversations.
Thank you.
I do want to keep us to time and move us along. I just want to echo Anais's point about please muting yourself on Zoom if you aren't speaking. She also encouraged the early career researchers to speak first, so I'm going to make sure that that point is echoed for the largely non-early career researchers who haven't yet muted themselves.